We're live.
All right, this is the Senate Education Committee. The afternoon of May 8th, following a lengthy tour. And we have with us Council St. James and have I think a relative handful of changes to look at in what would be draft, what is in fact draft 5.1, page 955. Reflecting of our conversations yesterday.
Yes, thank you. Beth St. James, Office of Legislative Counsel. I'm going to share my screen because of the horrible blue highlighting. Cannot believe no one has explicitly asked me not to do this yet. So the first change is to section 1 in draft 5.1, which is the findings and intent section. I've added some findings that read: the General Assembly finds the implementation of school district consolidation under 2015.
I'm sorry, could I stop? Stop. These were from Senator Hinsdale. She had sort of intimated, I think, to all of us that she was working on this. And we said, put them in, we'll try them on and see what happens. So with that set up.
Okay, so you just had intent language. So now we're having findings and intent, starting with findings. So the General Assembly finds the implementation of school district consolidation under 2015 Acts and Resolves number 46 resulted in the creation of larger supervisory districts and unified union school districts, which have achieved measurable administrative efficiencies, including reductions in per pupil central office costs and the elimination of duplicative governance structures while maintaining or improving student opportunities in many regions. Regional high schools serving broader geographic areas provide expanded and more equitable access to academic programming, career and technical education, co-curricular opportunities, and specialized staff, which are often not sustainable at smaller scales. Research demonstrates that closing small elementary schools often yields limited or inconsistent cost savings once transportation, capital adjustments, and community impacts are considered, and may negatively affect student outcomes and family engagement, particularly in rural areas. Nationally, the average public school district enrolls approximately 5,000 students, while the median district size is substantially smaller, commonly cited near 1,500 students, reflecting a wide distribution district scale across the U.S. In rural states, school district design must account not only for enrollment, but also for geographic size, as districts are often measured in square miles. Larger geographic areas can present barriers to equitable access to educational opportunity, requiring a careful balancing of efficiency, transportation time, community connection, and student access to high-quality programming. Approximately 40% of Vermont high school graduates enroll in a 2- or 4-year degree program. This outcome does not reflect a lack of academic engagement, but rather underscores the importance of ensuring that all students graduate with a clear and supported pathway, including high-quality career and technical education, workforce entry, or further education aligned with individual goals and regional economic needs. That's the end of the new findings.
Read the last one again. Hold it up. Yes, okay.
So the next change from yesterday is on page 36. This is the study committee reporting subdivision of section 13. We've got yellow to signify the language that we looked at yesterday. So the report's going to require the names of the school districts, the strengths and challenges of the current structures, what's the actual recommendation, and then an analysis of how the final recommendation will enable study committee member school districts to, under the foundation formula, maximize operational efficiencies, promote transparency and accountability, and encourage and support local decisions and actions that provide, and we've changed this to equal opportunities for an excellent education, all at a cost that parents, voters, and taxpayers value.
That change is reflective of what we did on the very beginning. Rather than talk about equality, just also talk about equal education, equal opportunity for excellent education. Yes.
I'm looking at page 34, actually, and I know we had talked about language regarding the operating structures for a study committee. And I think that was language that was taken out yesterday.
Oh, I
Was
missed
in
that.
a different, it might have been.
No, I haven't touched this, so that could just be something that I missed.
Wasn't that? I don't know.
I think you're right. So I don't know what you're planning to do today, but before, if you do plan to take action, I will get you a new draft that removes lines 15 through 20 on page 34. Is that accurate?
I believe that, we can come back. I have it in my notes. If you give me a minute, I can come back to it. I believe after some discussion, that was what we had landed on.
My apologies, I just missed
I
that.
believe that the senator is correct.
On draft 3.1, it was on. Oh, sorry. On- Yeah, draft 4.1. It's on page 33, lines 1 through 6.
Mhm.
Okay.
I'll get you a new draft with that change. Thank you. So we're gonna, so we went over the new language on page 36. And then the next change from yesterday, assuming I didn't miss anything, is page 61. And this is section 24. Which now reads, it is the intent of the General Assembly that under the foundation formula, no receiving school may charge individual families has been added, tuition in excess of the amount of tuition paid by a sending school district pursuant to 16 VSA section 823. And that blue period is to highlight the fact that anything after 16 VSA section 823 that appeared in draft 4.1 has been removed. And then the last change I made, I'm not sure if we talked about this in committee, page 74. To the class size minimum language. Line 17.
But that's yesterday.
You and I did.
Oh, this is a minor change, just the flipping of the go ahead, go ahead.
You want to tee it up or?
No, it was, you tee it up.
Okay, okay.
Sorry,
Yeah,
but like, just, I was kind of,
it was a minor, but it's-
where are
we're on page 70.
we? Okay, I got back to
74.
61 for a second. I was just not gonna dwell on this, but is it like accurate policy language to say no receiving school may charge individual families? Is that, like, I know I'm clear what we're trying to say, but is that careful enough policy language about like?
Since it was intent, since it's intent,
Yeah,
it's probably fine.
okay. I will say that if we were trying to still allow them to have international students, et cetera, like I get what this is doing overall, but we might want to say Vermont taxpayers.
This is only for students on public tuition.
Okay,
And that,
so then, yeah, it's plain spoken then. Fine.
And then the change on 74, on top of page 75, is only to make crystal clear that the delaying of the clock for minimum class sizes applies equally to public and independent schools.
the language that was in draft 4.1 and subdivision 2, so both in both public schools and independent schools are required to follow class size minimums. Those, the statute with the class size minimums in them goes into effect July 1, 2026. The rules to implement the class size minimums have not been finalized yet. So section 29A, we're in 29A, right? Yep, 29A. Essentially delayed the clock, right? So in subsection B, a public school's failure to comply with class size minimums does not count towards the 3 consecutive years that enables the secretary to take action, et cetera, until the foundation formula takes effect. I had mirrored that language for independent schools in subdivision 2, but because a independent school's ability to be eligible to receive public tuition is tied to complying with certain requirements, including class size minimums, which is different than how class size minimums affect public schools. There seemed to be some confusion over this subdivision. So I've reworded it to read, an approved independent school shall continue to be eligible to receive public tuition if the school fails to comply with the minimum class size requirements until the foundation formula is in effect and all contingencies to the effect that there are any contingencies have been met, provided, however, that the school shall continue to meet all other requirements in order to be eligible to receive public tuition. So their failure to not meet class size minimums would not make them ineligible to receive public tuition until the foundation formula kicks in.
So its effect is, as I understand, I think, is to just make clear that not both public and the clock does not start ticking for either public or independent schools until after the foundation formula is in effect. Is that accurate?
It's a little hard to say the clock ticking concept is easily applicable to both independent schools and public schools, because the process to hold an independent school accountable for failure to comply with class size minimums has yet to be developed. That's part of the rules. But under statute 16 VSA 828, one of the criteria that an independent school needs to comply with in order to be eligible to receive public tuition is compliance with class size minimums. So it's very easy to say the clock doesn't start ticking for public schools because there's an actual timeline built into the year. There's 3 consecutive school years of noncompliance, and there's 2 years of trying to get corrective action, and then the state board could take action. Act 73 asks for the rules to contain a substantially similar process for independent schools, but there are no rules yet, so I can't reference the process. All I can do is tie this clock, to whether a school's failure to comply with the class size minimums makes them ineligible to receive public tuition.
So maybe this has already been answered, but this seems complicated. Why aren't we just saying that it won't count toward the 3 consecutive school years of non-compliance, as we say it does for the public schools as well?
Because there is nothing that says an approved independent school has to be non-compliant for 3 consecutive school years, because that process is a process we've delegated to the state board to develop in rules, and that hasn't happened yet. We've asked for the rules to provide a substantially similar process, but I haven't seen it yet, so I can't make assumptions that it will be 3 years. So I'm tying it to the only thing in law that is concrete, and that is this independent school's ability to accept public tuition or receive public tuition.
I get that, so why not? Why is this being handed to the school board, the state board, instead of us just saying in 3 consecutive years, it'll be non-compliance?
That was what Act 73 did.
So that's already been in law then for a while.
Yes. And those are the only changes I made from yesterday. Did I miss anything else?
No, and, to cross out that one for a vote, we can clean up afterwards.
For this bill, I'm gonna ask you to wait.
All right.
Just so that you have the right draft number and everything
Yeah.
has a nice bow on it. But if you're ready to take a vote, I can do that right now. Is that what you'd like?
Well, I want to actually not take a vote at the moment, but get a temperature check for people. So, assuming this is the bill with that one change, what do people think?
I have no remaining significant concerns. I did get other senators excited about the Joint Education Oversight Committee. It may appear again. And I have asked, I just want to say this now, I have heard from some special education leaders, practitioners, et cetera, that they just worry the only kind of reference to special education here is CISAs can create some efficiencies there, but they're really worried about the direction and governance over special education. And so I'm working with Beth on an amendment to bring next week to whichever committee has the bill, so that we'd consider it in here. But I just wanted to note that they've done a lot of work this session. I would say they're a group of people that really should have been consulted by AOE for their expertise and don't get consulted enough. And so they, I don't want special ed to be this afterthought that we're just trying to find ways to save money, but we're still making sure we're driving towards quality and efficacy. So I am working on that language as well.
I plan on voting yes. There are a number of things in this bill that I like. The only area that's makes me a little concerned is just the methodology with the underlying guidance map for the school districts, the methodology used to get to where we were or get to where we are with that map. But also that's heavily balanced by the fact that it's just guidance and there's language specifically that says the facilitators and study committees don't have to follow the maps. Aside from that, I'm good with the bill and will be voting yes.
Senator Weeks?
Yeah, really no change since yesterday. So I'm an opt-out. I have an opt-out perspective. You support foundation formula. You support the concept of BOCES or seesaws, but really they should be at a larger district level, not at a separate administrative design. So right now, I'm a no. No surprise.
Okay. Senator Huffman?
Some of the concept really like, as I talked yesterday. I would have a problem with line 3 that we just put in this morning. Research demonstrates that closing smaller elementary school often, I don't believe that needs to be in there. I think they should warrant whether or not when the discussion in the regions should decide that, not have some wording that might discourage you from otherwise doing what might be the right thing. And the only part, there's not enough teeth in the end if they don't get to where we want to be. And we know where we want to be, and we're getting a lot of resistance from it, even though the public and school system knows where we're. So that's what this bill's missing, and so I'd be a no. I'm liking where we're headed with it, but there's nothing to get us where we need to be in the end. And that's even using your map to say, here, this is what we want in the end, make it happen. And here's the deadline. That may turn it to yet, but as it sets right now, no, too many, not enough there's nothing to make us get smaller districts, nothing to, other than talk about it.
Senator Williams?
Well, I'm sorry I was late. So I obviously missed something, but if I didn't, I'm still a no. I'm along with Senator Weeks. I'm an opt-out guy. I think that we need to have more of our discussion and the final product be centered around CTE centers and making sure there's language in the bill that requires every school district to give opportunities for CTE for every student.
Don't want to have a debate at this point about that, but I think the bill has a lot more in it headed in that direction than it did a couple of days ago, or a few days ago, so,
No, we're not there yet.
okay. Okay.
Can I,
Yeah.
I do want to clarify one thing, so it wasn't said later that I don't know. I think I have finally gotten through to Senate Finance, that I have deep, deep concerns about the property classification and taxation section of this bill. I'm a yes on the education policy components, but the other tax components would upend all of landlord tenant law and most housing agreements in the state, and I'm not trying to be hyperbolic. So I have serious concerns. I'm working out with finance on the tax pieces.
For our sections here.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
I'd like to echo Senator Ram Hinsdale's point that I believe this is an education bill. It's largely been hijacked as for tax policy purposes. And that's very unfortunate.
For my part, is to say, if we were taking a vote, I'd be a yes, on our sections, but I said the reasons why yesterday, so I won't repeat. So, yes.
So we kind of seem to be dancing around the elephant in the room. Are we going to take a vote, or are we going to pause and allow another committee to do their work, or what's the
Well,
approach?
the finance committee is working now. We're
So
not holding anything up, on that score.
I don't want to make a motion to vote if,
Yeah, no, we're not ready to vote. We wanted to get a sense of where we are. But I think for now, one thing we have is that one change to.
I've made it and Daphne has posted it and we're just waiting on the internet.
Is that now 6.1?
5.2.
5.2, okay. Okay, that's it for now on that. Guess we're waiting for Rick, right? On his way. We'll take a short break until Rick arrives. For our new draft of 6.